Wisconsin. I'm actually from the Columbia Heights neighborhood. Like that's right where the school is, on the Harbor Street building, actually. I currently work as the executive assistant to the chief financial officer, and I've been at the school for 14 years. I was born in Washington, D.C. I'm from Columbia Heights. That's my neighborhood, like where Wonderland is. The people who own Wonderland bought my old home, the home I grew up in. Funny is the first word that came to mind for me was pride. Not sure why, but I'm thinking like this is the most powerful city in the world, so I always have those bragging rights, eh? But also there's pride and like letting much like when it comes to I guess generationally, like my parents, both of them born and raised in DC. They're native Washingtonians. My husband and I as well. So when we're with our kids, simply riding through the neighborhoods in DC, we point out where we're from. Like this is where mommy grew up. This is the home, and then I can actually have nostalgic moments where I remember and recall memories growing up there and just seeing the house that I grew up in now like a totally different color, and being able to share that with my kids, my nostalgic moments of like having strong roots in that city and just riding along with my mate. He's from there, and it's just like a vibe. It's kind of unspoken. Can't really truly like put it into words, but it feels good. It's really like a place that touches my heart because it's just home. I thought about the ways I can answer the question. And what stuck out the most is literally what I feel, what comes up first. So what comes up first to me is the drug era. And why did it come up first? Because I did witness the city, I witnessed the homes, I witnessed the people change. A lot of changes just on those levels, the demographic levels, of course. And just, I guess when it comes to crime and violence, I've noticed that it changed from worse and things got better, particularly many of the homes the Carlos Rosario School, the Harvard Street campus in particular. Obviously, that one touches my heart the most. That's my city. I mean, that's my neighborhood. I grew up there, like right there. Every time I go in that building, it brings back so much because that building, the Harvard Street building, was associated with DC Teachers College. And that's where my parents met. And they actually met in that building. Now to see the building that my entire life have been dilapidated and totally overlooked, and just my entire life, it was an abandoned building. And so I think around 2001, I was 18, I was a freshman at UDC, and I saw the building start to be renovated on and like change over, and it was a shock. It shocked me. I'm like, literally, I've seen this building my whole life. It's always been abandoned. So at 18, I'm seeing it change. I'm still a child, pretty much. Legally an adult, but still. And it interested me. I was very much interested, and I was very curious and intrigued. What's going on here? What's going on with this building? Who knew? Like, I didn't know that when I was growing up. Just knowing that my parents met in that building. When I used to work in the main office, I used to think about that on a regular. Like no one really knew it, but inside I was like, I'm here in the building where my parents met. And sometimes when I thought about that, and I looked down at my desk where I had some of my photos of my family, and I saw my parents, I would smile, and I would feel like a lot of pride. Memories are really, really important. No one can take those from you, and it's always a part of you. And it brings joy to you when you recall. Well, I'll speak in particular to me when I recall the memories associated with even living around that building, growing up around that building, that neighborhood where that building is, or was, how the neighborhood was when I was growing up. It's just like, I would say like our legend. That's how I look at it. And about the building itself means a lot, and definitely what it's become for sure. That's totally, a given, I would say. It's come to mean a lot. I really can't verbalize all of it, but it is, that building is like a part of me because I have memories of the before and after, and those memories are part of who I am because I always have them. And it was such a huge deal to me just seeing the change, being like a little girl. Like, do you remember sometimes when you go home to your hometown and you see how things have changed in the buildings when you go back now, or maybe even relatives' homes, those things, because it relates back to your childhood and actually who you are as an individual, as an adult, and what you can pass down to your kids. And memories are really, really important. No one can take those from you, and it's always a part of you. And it brings joy to you when you recall. Well, I'll speak in particular to me when I recall the memories associated with even living around that building, growing up around that building, that neighborhood where that building is, I thought of the artist Chuck Brown initially because I'm thinking go-go. Always when you ask me about songs in DC, and those two are ever near each other, those two words, songs in DC, it's always going to be go-go for me. So he thought the song called Welcome to DC by the group called Mumbo Sauce, and they actually are named after like the best sauce that's unique to DC that we love to put on our wings from the carry out. So it's Welcome to DC by Mumbo Sauce. It touched my heart because I'm like, that's our music. It's so underrated. When I say our, I mean Washingtonians, Native Washingtonians, Black in particular, but all Washingtonians. It's really, really like pinpointing music that means so much. You know, it means so very much to a lot of persons from DC.